Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pet Food Puzzle Guy. If you're new, I hope you'll stick around and see what this channel is all about. We call ourselves the Nutrition Mission because our mission is to bring nutrients and nutrition, actual nutrition, back to the conversation about pet food. So today we're going to actually do a little taste test and comparison between processed foods. Now, we hear this all the time from the all-natural, holistic, the crowd out there that whole, clean, wonderful ingredients are so good, and processed food, or especially ultra-processed food, is so bad for your pet. So I've addressed this in one video, but I wanted to try to do a little different because I actually am a big Spam fan, and Spam is probably the quintessential ultra processed food that anybody could think of. So today we're going to look at Spam, and I actually have a plate and a fork. So we're gonna test Spam, an ultra processed food, against Science Diet. And this is actually one of the formulas, the sensitive stomach and skin. I've been feeding this can and dry for years to both my girls. And we're going to do a comparison of these two foods and see what makes them different. Or is processed food all bad? So stick around and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so first of all, we have Spam. Now, I'm sure some of you are laughing, but come on. I'm one of those folks. I love Spam, whether it's cold or fried with eggs, that kind of thing. It's great on camping trips. A little heavy for backpacking, but for canoe trips, it's really awesome. There's probably a can of this sitting up in the Montana wilderness off the Missouri River somewhere that I forgot one lunchtime, and it's so remote it's probably still sitting there now 40 years later. I looked at the expiration date on this. This is a new one, and it's 2027, January 27. Best if bought by then. So it's got 3 years. This is if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, you want to have a lot of Spam available and you'll be all set. So anyway, I am going to open this up. It really has changed over the years. If you're familiar with Spam, remember when you used to open it like this, it had that little key that would go around, and they don't have that anymore now. It's really convenient. And remember the gelatinous stuff that would be on top when you open the can with the key, and you'd have to scrape that off to get to the meat. And you can see now it's all nice and clean and pink. And so I'm just gonna jab in there, see if I could get it out of there. Here it comes. There we go. So there's Spam. We'll put it out here, and there we go. So what can we say about Spam? What is the main purpose of Spam? Is it to provide optimal nutrition for the soldiers during World War II, or for you and I when we're on a camping trip, or we just feel like eating some processed food? No, it really isn't. The idea really of most processed foods is two things. One, convenience, and this is about as convenient as you could get. You can slice that Spam now, and you can go ahead and make a sandwich with it, or eat it any way you want. It's great stuff, and I really enjoy it. So I'm a fan of Spam. I've even been to their museum in Minnesota. So if you're ever in Minnesota, you got to go to the Spam Museum. It's actually pretty fun. So what's the problem with Spam? Well, one, it has a bad reputation. Okay, I had to cut that little part out because I just spit out some Spam, and that's probably rude to have on the video. So sorry about that. But anyway, back to Spam. The purpose of this processed food is convenience and taste. You want it to taste good. And when you look at the nutrient levels, it's no shock that the nutrient levels pretty much match that purpose of convenience and taste, because it's giving you some protein, obviously, because there's meat, but it is processed with really high fat, really high sodium, lots of calories, preservatives like sodium nitrite and some other preservatives in it. I mean, it is definitely, this is not an example of optimal nutrients for health, okay? But that's okay, because any of us eating it, we know that. Again, processed for sure, but what's the purpose? Anytime somebody says ultra processed, I want you to try to think of this video that what you should be asking yourself is processed for what purpose? Again, most processed foods in the human world anyway, it's convenience and taste. Again, fat, sugar, sodium, just all kinds of stuff right through the roof, never mind the harmful preservatives. So that's what Spam represents. There's no way around it, as much as I like it. And I would eat another piece, but I'm afraid I'm just going to, here, I'll eat a little bit, because I don't want to spit it out again on the screen. That was pretty bad. So that's a processed food. Now let's look at this processed food. Is it processed? Absolutely. Okay, there's not whole fresh ingredients sitting in this can. It has been processed. But let's ask ourselves, what's the purpose of this processing versus this processing? This is made by the top veterinary nutritionists in the country, if not in the world, arguably, that have gotten together to decide what's the purpose of this food. It is, now this is for healthy dogs and cats. Like I said, my girls have been eating this for years, mostly dry, but they love canned as well. And the whole purpose of this is actually the opposite of this. Now it's convenient because it does, I remember for years you had to get your can opener. Now you can open it just like the Spam. Everything's convenience because that's what we want these days. But this food, you kind of take a look at it, is very different than this one. The nutritionists have decided the purpose of this diet is to give your dog or your cat optimal nutrition. In other words, there's about 50 some odd nutrients. There's macronutrients like protein, fat, carbohydrates. There's all, the micronutrients of minerals, vitamins. Then, of course, there's fatty acids. There's vitamin E preservatives. There's fiber, dietary fiber, which is important. All kinds of stuff that goes into this food. And the real challenge is when you add one ingredient to reach that nutrient level, it's going to have an effect on the other nutrients, especially minerals. I mean, minerals all act on each other. Too much calcium, you're binding zinc. Too much phosphorus, you're doing this. I mean, it really takes the best chemists and nutritionists to make a complete, convenient diet that optimally delivers those nutrients. So processed food with a very different purpose. Purpose of this, again, is what? Deliver optimal nutrients to that dog or that cat. Let's say this was Hill's prescription diet. What's the purpose? Deliver the nutrients in a way, levels that are going to manage that disease, whether it's kidney disease with controlled protein and restricted phosphorus and sodium, or urinary stones where we're going to restrict certain minerals and control urine pH. I mean, or arthritis where we're going to invert the normal omega-6s and 3s. We're going to get the 3s higher than the 6s. All kinds of ways that we can manage disease through controlling those nutrients. That's a very different purpose, but it sure is ultra processed. I mean, there's no way around it. You can look up that definition. It's actually a definition. And yes, the problem isn't, is processed food bad? The question is, what's the purpose of the process? So where this is convenience and we're kind of putting aside nutrition when we eat Spam, we kind of know it, but we like the taste of it and it's convenient. This is totally different. Yes, it's convenient, but it has a whole different purpose to actually have a nutritional purpose versus just convenience and taste. Now, if I take this and take a little bit of this and eat this, well, it does taste different than Spam, I have to admit. How would I describe it? It's a little blander than the Spam, and that's not a surprise since you're getting healthy controlled levels of sodium in this food and you're getting extremely excessive levels in this food. Now, we've talked about human grade ingredients too. Many of the ingredients in here I'm sure are human grade, but because Hills doesn't try to market that and try to play this game of ingredients, how do you know whether you're getting high quality ingredients? Here, You kind of know you're not, but that's okay. We're accepting that. We can read the nutrient analysis. Way too many calories and fat and sodium for the protein benefit I'm getting of this. And it's clearly not complete and balanced. This is actually, I could look at the nutrient levels and see that it is totally healthy for my dog, for my adult dog. And that's the drastic difference. I have no problem eating this food because I know everything in it isn't going to harm me. So Spam wins in the taste test between between these two. Spam wins the taste test, but Science Diet wins the nutrition test. So again, the whole purpose of this kind of silly, but I want you to I want to put it in your head. I'm going to zap this thought into your head that anytime you hear all these pet food marketers, Dr. Judy and Dr. Becker and all the rest of them saying, oh, processed food is so bad, it's so harmful, it's whatever. It's just a con job. They're just trying to snow you into thinking processed food is bad. That's what they want you to think. Shame on them. If they don't know better, I don't know what's worse. Shame on them that they don't know, or shame on them that they know and they're misleading you. But this is processed. Absolutely. This is much better than nature. Nature cannot provide what nutrition science does, okay? This is about as unnatural as you could get in order to have your dog live 3 times longer than any dog in the wild. Now, true, in the wild, they got lots of ways that they're killed before they ever get to enjoy old age. But there's no geriatrics in nature. If a lucky wolf lasted long enough to come down with kidney disease, there's nobody that's offering them a kidney-friendly diet of elk and whatever they can get, okay? Nature is wonderful, and it's actually it's pretty brutal when you really think about it, but it only delivers a certain amount of nutrition. Basically, hey, you're a wolf, stay alive long enough to reproduce once or twice, and then you're going to be dead. That's it. Hardly the same with Zuzu and Bella and your dog at home. We want them living into their teens. Cats are living into their 20s these days. So that's what the process, when the purpose is for the health of your animal, that process is wonderful. Very different than this process. Okay? So it's not the processing. No one's saying this isn't processed. What's the purpose of the process? We were just having comments this morning on one of my videos, and the only thing we're all looking for when we say healthy and all this other stuff is longevity. We want our beloved pets with us as long as possible. That's what this does. The process behind this helps achieve that. But I hope that helps you understand ultra processed is not bad. It's just what's the purpose of the process, right? You guys have a great day.